All right, it's 10:10 here on the East Coast. It is Thursday. Welcome to Twitch Line, everyone. I am your host, Hodo. Joining me, as always, on this wonderful Thursday evening is my best friend and co-host, Mr. Acorn. How are you doing, buddy?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Just went to the obligatory Target trip for the week and got a bunch of stuff that I don't need. So, living the life, man. How about yourself?
I am okay. I have gone through 4 days of work, and I am very happy to announce that Friday is almost here, and I have no meetings except in the morning, so therefore I feel free. I will also be doing a game cast for anybody who will be watching on for Elo Hell starting at 8 o'clock tomorrow in the GGNA tournament for anyone who is interested in listening to me do play-by-play tomorrow. So I'm very happy about that. I get to cast for a new organization who is filled with lots of casting professionals who I met in Philadelphia a couple of weeks ago. So it was pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, so as always, welcome to Twitch Line, everyone. It is Thursday, which means it is Freeform Thursday. So we'll be talking about lots of random things, just a lot of topics that basically come to our head. But in the meantime, let us get our socials here out of the way. So just in case you want to contact us, you can always email us here, as you can see on the screen, at our email address at twitchlinelove@gmail.com. You can also tweet us if you have any links, comments, quick comments, greetings or compliments. You can tweet us at twitchline. That is our home on Twitter. You can also visit us on YouTube. We stream directly to YouTube at the same time we do to Twitch, thanks to restream.io. You can visit our YouTube page on YouTube if you just search Twitchline Love and Relationship Advice. You can go to our channel, hit the subscribe button there, and you'll get access to all of our videos that we store there on YouTube. We're very happy to have YouTube store all of our archive material. You can catch previous shows, different topics that we talk about on Sundays during our Sunday Focus segments, and copies of our Freeform Thursdays. And also, if you want to listen to us on the go, you can also listen to us on SoundCloud on your mobile device, iPad, phone, laptop, whatever. Just go to SoundCloud, search Twitchline, and you will hear us there. And it is a wonderful Thursday afternoon for both Tim and I, and it is Freeform Thursday, and I have wanted to get something off my chest, Tim.
What's up, man?
And it's interesting because there was a lot of stuff that happened this week in relation to China, and I don't know if you have been up on what has been going on there, but it's affected a lot of companies here in the United States. And the things that have happened, lots of interesting ones. One, they actually forced Apple to remove the Taiwanese flag from the iPhone if you are traveling in Southeast Asia in China. So therefore, the emoji for the Taiwanese flag does not appear on your phone. It's a little petty, but okay. Second is that the NBA got into a bit of a kerfuffle with China because the Rockets general manager from the city of Houston, which is also the Houston Rockets are the number one team in China because of their affiliation with Yao Ming. Their general manager tweeted out his support for the protesters in Hong Kong. So that was very interesting to see. That led to a whole bunch of things, including the NBA being taken off of Chinese state TV and off of Tencent streaming service. So very interesting there. And lastly, Blizzard got into it with China because they were actually doing a Hearthstone tournament in Southeast Asia, and it's the biggest Hearthstone tournament. I think it's called Grand Masters. And the person that won Grand Masters happened to be from Hong Kong, and he actually put on a gas mask and tried to hide his face, but he was the winner, so he'd been streaming for 3 hours, and said the 7 key words that you are not allowed to say. Blizzard then reacted by taking away his prize money, not allowing him back into Hearthstone for a year, and then they fired the 2 casters that were casting the show. So, Tim, this is just the tip of the iceberg. It seems that China has also affected a whole lot of other a lot of companies and other things, including Vans, apparently, the shoe company. This week, there was actually a whole giant list that was released of all the things that China has manipulated and done with companies. Has it come to the point that China has basically taken hold of a lot of the businesses here in the U.S. and basically put a stranglehold on them, and now has massive power over industry here in the United States?
Yep, it's not just now. It's not a. It's been a slow build. America's been selling itself out, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Real estate, businesses, Hollywood for sure. Look at all these random, like in the beginning of the movies, you'll see that H Productions and a number of other ones where you could see that they're being backed by Chinese money, which means that there will be a randomly placed and not particularly meaningful Chinese character that will help to contribute to saving the day. And that's just built in. It's happening all the time. And then you have, in all over New York, San Francisco, real estate being bought up and just sitting there doing nothing because you can't, some of the people that are buying this stuff can't actually come to the U.S. They don't have the visas. They can't make it here, but they own things here, and they're just sitting there doing nothing. So I'm sure it's very frustrating for a lot of people, but it's particularly frustrating for those that are, trying to, like right now, have a voice and support for what they want to, and being silenced outside of, in their own country. Like, America should not be silenced in any way because of another country's, sensitivities. So I'm disappointed. I'm very disappointed in anyone who would bow down to China in this way.
It's funny. They say that what a lot of people are actually angry at isn't the fact that China is doing it. It's the hypocrisy of the companies who are, quote, woke. One of which is the NBA, for example. They are very active in social issues here in the United States, but when having to deal with a situation like Hong Kong, for example, and having the president of the general manager, of the Houston Rockets being shut down, and then all of a sudden, you have players coming out apologizing for comments, with, subtle little, we love China, we didn't mean to insult anybody, but they weren't really insulting anything. They were just actually, like, the general manager was, like, tweeting support for Hong Kong, but I guess that is interpreted as an insult. So therefore, it is very, very odd for them to actually have to apologize for what they're doing, and it's terrible. And the thing about it is that there's collateral damage everywhere. Where are you? So there's a lot of you're in it. Okay. So there's a lot of collateral damage with regards to what's been going on, but I think a lot of people are really, really upset about the NBA. Now, the NBA has since backtracked and says, hey, you know what? We allow all of our members and players to say whatever they want. And the side effect, which I read about today, could be as much as the salary cap going down in the NBA by as much as 15% because of all the money that China actually contributes to the bottom line of the NBA. I think they contribute close to $1 billion regarding revenue for the NBA. So it's like, they've backtracked a little bit, but they really haven't done it completely. So it is very interesting to see. And then with Blizzard, all of a sudden, the Reddit citizens here are all up in arms because they feel like it is just they feel bad for this guy who is from Hong Kong. He actually let out a tweet that said, it's like, I've lost 4 years of my life playing Hearthstone, and now that I'm banned, I can't do anything. But at the same time, if Hong Kong loses this fight, I lose the rest of my life, which was a very heart pulling tweet from him. But you listen and you read the comments on Weibo, which I think is the Chinese Twitter.
Weibo.
There you go. You have the proper pronunciation of it. They absolutely despise this guy and consider him, an insurgent, which is
they're
crazy.
So I have been following this, and I've seen a lot of things. Just today, I saw a Hong Kong guy get beat up on a subway in Shenzhen because there's just general animosity.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that since Blizzard is not Blizzard is not standing up for Hong Kong, so what they're doing, the gamers are unsubscribing. They are kind of getting together. They're going to places that sell Blizzard game cards and stuff like that. I saw a video of one guy taking all the Blizzard game cards and hiding them behind Hallmark gift cards in a different section. I saw a guy. Okay, so they're trying to make an Overwatch character named Mei into one of the symbols of Hong Kong's, standing up to Hong Kong. So they're putting all these Hong Kong flags with her, and they're just, and it's actually showing up on the street now in Hong Kong. So they're trying to, if Blizzard won't take a stand, then they'll just get Blizzard banned from, like Winnie the Pooh got banned from China. They're just going to turn it into a symbol, and that symbol won't be allowed. Therefore, the game won't be allowed.
Yeah, and that's the side effect, right? Like Blizzard's whole idea was that they didn't want to offend China so that they could stay in the Chinese market, but it might not even be their decision at this point because they might end up having their character turned into a symbol of rebellion, or in this case in Hong Kong, uprising and democracy, and it might get banned anyway. So it was one of those it's a lose-lose situation here for Blizzard as to what they want to do. They have 4 Chinese teams in the Overwatch League, for example. It's like Shanghai, Chengdu, Guangzhou, and Hangzhou. And 3 are owned by companies that are huge in China. Bilibili, I think, owns one. Tencent, I think, might own another. Just a lot of stuff going on with regards to it. And this could be a complete nightmare for Blizzard because, BlizzCon is coming up in 3 weeks. And it's sort of crazy because I gotta believe that there are going to be crazy people wearing Hong Kong gear at BlizzCon. You're not gonna be able to. I mean, would they kick people out? And the fact that
they've shut down multiple people for talking about it, for having signs. They've shut down a reporter that was at one of the Rockets. I don't know. I guess where they just.
Oh, it was the press conference. Yeah, the press conference.
She got shut down. So it is just going to be America bending over for China, I guess.
Well, the thing about it is like, if Overwatch gets shut down from China, that is huge because the people that are in Overwatch are not just game companies. I mean, Robert Kraft, for example, owns the Boston team. The family that owns the Vancouver Canucks owns the Vancouver team. So you're talking about billionaires across North America who have invested, hundreds of millions of dollars into this potential gaming league, and have a and has the possibility of it losing four teams in the span of a month because of Blizzard's reaction regarding it. It's sort of crazy, you know. I mean, that could be huge because what could end up happening is that Blizzard, who is the organizer and owner of the league, could theoretically get sued by these billionaire owners, and these guys have bigger pockets than Activision does, and that could be literally insane. So, I mean, like the ramifications of this, people haven't really thought out all the way through because they don't really know what China is going to do. But at the same time, it is a clinic on, like, what should a company do with regards to getting pulled into a political situation with a foreign country.
I think that I think that they're screwed either way.
Yeah, they are, absolutely. Yeah. So, like, the thing about it is they made such a big deal of what they did, and their punishment was so harsh that they actually brought it upon themselves. Like, if they would have taken him off and apologized for and kicked him out of the tournament, but not take away his money, or maybe suspend him for a month and not fire the casters, then I think people's reservations like, okay, he messed up. It's like, they got it. It's okay. It's like they're trying to make it up to appeal, but they didn't really do anything too crazy to these people. But taking away the livelihoods of three people in the process just to appease China in a way that was brutal was overkill and has now backfired in their face and is sort of crazy. But I have a question. Is like, how much, like, Blizzard is a gaming company. They make a lot of their money from, like, World of Warcraft, Overwatch, all these games and stuff like that. Is social responsibility creeping to everyone involved? I mean, like, you have a lot of, like, under 18 players for a game like World of Warcraft and for Overwatch and stuff like that. Is it their responsibility to also, like, be woke and understand, the game that they like is, like, they can't play it because, you know what, I need to be politically active and make sure that,
that's
like,
up to the individual.
Yeah. But what if the individual is, like, really young and doesn't really understand the situation? Like, a 10-year-old doesn't know
they
what
don't
to
have to do it. Like,
Yeah.
that's it. They don't,
Yeah.
basically you get to participate in political stuff or not. But it is hey, grab this.
Yeah.
It is important to, what am I trying to say here? It is important for America, companies, people, whatever, to realize that if you keep doing this, you will sell out control of your own country over time.
Mm-hmm.
You will, the people, there's a Netflix show called American Factories, I think, and it is a Chinese company that buys out an American company, and they come over here and they start trying to run it the Chinese way, and that is very authoritarian and totally disregards workers' rights and things like that. And
Yeah.
they're just trying to pull that stuff in America, and a lot of people are upset about it in the show. But that is what's coming, dude. If people give up control to an authoritarian government, that is what's going to be on the menu. And right now, a few people are getting really rich because they are sucking on the teat of China.
Yeah.
But at some point, it's not going to be so much fun anymore.
No, it's not. And you say sucking on the teat of China. Have you watched the last 2 episodes of South Park? Because
I have not watched South Park in many years.
well, South Park, being as timely as they are, I don't like they produce an episode as quickly as 7 days. But they had a episode 2 weeks ago entitled "Banned in China," and when they mean banned, they mean like the musical band in China. But it basically addresses all of these issues before any of these issues happened. So it was very, very timely that they were actually doing it. And what ended up happening after last week was that South Park was scrubbed from the Chinese internet. So, the Great Firewall decided, okay, any references, images, people associated to South Park were eliminated from the Chinese internet. And I want to bring up the Matt and Trey apology. The Chinese apology, because it is hilarious. Because I can show it here on the screen because they actually tweeted it out. And the tweet that they have is very, very Matt and Trey-like. So, I'll put it up here in the topic screen. So they actually tweeted out. Where is it? I'm trying to find it. Was it in the New York Times? No. Where is the tweet? I can't find it. Oh, leave it to Al Jazeera to actually have it. So here is what it looks like. They actually wrote to China, like the NBA, we welcome the Chinese censors into our homes and into our hearts. We too love money more than freedom. Trey and Brett Parker wrote as an official apology to China. Long live the great Communist Party of China. May this autumn's sorghum harvest be bountiful. We good now, China? That also led them to also being banned, and now they are no longer allowed into China as people. But they actually ended this week's episode with a direct reference to China when Randy tried to sell weed into the Chinese mainland, was very successful, but then had to be convinced to pull out of that market. And then having to convince Towley that he no longer was a supporter of the Chinese. So, very, very interesting just happenings around China this week. And Matt and Trey Parker from South Park have become a little bit of cult heroes for the way they've basically just did not give an F regarding what they think about China.
Yeah, we need people like that. We need people to stand up for what's right and to oppose censorship in the face of truth. So
I would really suggest you watch those. Their episodes are free because it's like watch South Park on online. You just have to watch ads. But
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's free. So but you should watch the 2 episodes that happened this week and last week. They are, besides being hilarious, it's also very timely and very interesting to see what they do in the episode. So
I know that they played that the first episode of it up against a building in Hong Kong.
Yeah, they've become a bit of a cult hero in Hong Kong because of their attitude towards the Chinese government. Because the people are using it to rally in Hong Kong, and it's pretty crazy. So, I mean, I'm shortening my life as a caster because I probably will never be able to do professional Blizzard events by talking about it on this channel if they ever found it. So it's like, we do not.
Maybe.
Yeah. So.
But what do you want?
Yeah, that's
do you want to be under the thumb of?
That's the thing. It's like, do I want to be under the thumb of China? No. And like, a lot of the times it's casters. The reason that people are under the thumb of China is because they're desperate for money. China has money. Current companies, especially in this industry, do not, or are not yet in the business of understanding what like esports or all sorts of other stuff is. And you have to live somehow, and you have to make sacrifices. And I guess this is one that some people make, so it's a tough decision.
Well,
because it's like,
everyone's going to make their own choice.
Yeah, everybody's free to do so, and you live with the consequences of your choice. So it is very interesting to see. But yeah. But that's what I wanted to talk about today, because I just found the whole situation very interesting. And final note, there was a fundraiser today for the Overwatch World Cup team that is coming from China that qualified for the Overwatch World Cup. They needed 80,000 Hong Kong dollars to basically fly the team over and allow them to participate in the Overwatch World Cup. They made all of that money in, no kidding, 7 hours. Yeah. So this is the part that I found weird. Like, these people online have been trying to get Overwatch banned in China, and I can understand why. That's absolutely. But the fact that they feel like that this could be just a giant fuck you to China by having them featured like in the World Cup is just hilarious. It's like, all right, we're not probably going to get banned right away, but it is going to be one of those things in which it's like, what we're going to do is we're going to fly this team over and see if we can give them a little bit of time on air to do what they need to do.
I saw a funny Reddit earlier. People are trying to get everyone who shows up to BlizzCon to wear Winnie the Pooh costume.
Yeah. Just a whole people that they said that like there are people who want to bring like little mini Hong Kong flags and just have them be everywhere. Like, just like you could pick one up and just have it on your backpack or something, or do like otherwise. A lot of Asians there. They could claim they're from Hong Kong originally, and therefore, what you're gonna not allow me in because I have a little flag of the country that I claim I'm from?
They would. If they think it's going to interfere with the whole thing, and that someone's protesting, they'll just kick you out.
Yeah, well, that's true. Well, the thing about it is like, I guarantee they're not going to be having any more quick question and answer sessions. The last year that they tried that, you got the "Don't you have phones?" comment. I can't imagine what a question and answer session would happen now. It's like, especially with what's going on. There's no way. Everything has to be scripted. So,
I mean, that's a pretty big part of it. So they don't do that.
Yeah, right. Like the whole big part of it is the interaction, like with the people, right? Like the interaction with the game players and their reactions to what Blizzard's coming out with. I heard somewhere that like they'll probably push up announcements and leaks, so that all they really have to do is just announce stuff online. And then, therefore, they don't really have to talk to people because a lot of all they'll be doing is just releasing details of what leaks out. So, therefore, they don't really have to do a Q&A in the upcoming weeks, which is very interesting to hear. But who knows, But it's funny that one individual here has affected so much going on by his actions of protest, which I think he was completely free to do. So,
yeah, and people are going to decide with their dollars and decide with their subscriptions and decide, how far they're willing to go with this. So, it'll just be interesting to sit back and see how it all plays out.
No, yeah. I believe this is not going to play out well for Blizzard at all. But that's my personal opinion. Who knows? Maybe they get out of it.
I'm out of range.
So
Well, I'm gonna pray for them.
they need Jesus. Blizzard needs Jesus right now. Dear Lord, what kind of thinking do they do? You know, what was it? Their income from China, I think, was only like 15%. You know, I don't know how much that is in total gross revenue.
12 and 18.
Yeah,
It's enough. It's plenty. That there's no. I am not surprised in the slightest that they are doing what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I am very surprised at the response. And if they are not wary of how they're being received, they may lose in a larger way.
Yeah.
Because these days, the power of the internet, the power of grouping through online organization is huge. And it is fast moving and it is viral. So if they are not careful, they're going to be up shit creek.
Yeah, and you know what? You know, it is completely problematic for them. And it's like, oh, you know, it was funny. I posted in one of those chats where they were talking about it, and I'm like, I just got my horse in Classic WoW. I was like, can't you guys wait to protest until I actually enjoy it a little bit? People in the chat did not like that whatsoever. I was like, oh. So it's like people are very apprehensive about the whole thing. You can't even make a joke about it. But I can completely understand. It's a very serious situation, especially for the people who live in Hong Kong. So.
Well, I mean, and especially considering the kind of, if you look and see some of the abuses that are going on, sexual abuse in the detainment centers.
Oh no, yeah, my follow-up comments were all about like the organ harvesting from the Uyghurs and all of that stuff that's going on. It's like
even more beyond that. There's a 15-year-old girl that was pulled out of the harbor there.
Yeah, I just saw that article. I didn't even know about that until like about 2 hours ago. She was declared missing or something like that, and then
she was a protester and ended up, she's on the swim team too. So how did she end up naked in the harbor, and what the hell's going on?
Mm-hmm. That's scary, man. So it's like the thing about it is right. It's Carrie Lam, the chief executive of Hong Kong, has said that, like, you know, they're basically trying to stay ahead of the protesters, and I think today they were saying that, like, I don't know if it was Google or Apple that removed an app that allowed protesters to know where police were, so that protesters couldn't be aware as to police presence in certain areas of Hong Kong, to prevent them from, you know, organizing in places where the police are not. So it's like, you know, it continues. It was funny. Even other companies are getting in the act. Tencent, who owns Riot Games. I have a friend that works at Riot, and she was going off about how Blizzard was being, you know, terrible. And I told her, it's like, look, you know, League of Legends is doing their tournament too, and a team from Hong Kong by the name of Hong Kong Attitude qualified for the finals, and the casters are not even allowed to mention Hong Kong. So anytime they have to mention them as HKA, not as Hong Kong Attitude, which is
that's just bullshit, man.
It is bullshit. It's crazy. And she was like, oh, you know, it's like, you know, Riot is 100% owned by Tencent. So, you know, they're 100% Chinese owned, because that's where they got all their money from, to do what they do. And, you know, League of Legends is the biggest, it's the biggest esport in the world. So therefore, you know, they have to be extra careful about not offending China Daddy when it comes to stuff. So, because if
I
they,
think we should just make it a standard across the board. Everyone is just straight up says things as they are, and if they're offended, then they can just not have American money and American companies. We can just pull all out, and they can have Huawei and be happy with that.
yeah, I mean, it's crazy, but yeah. Hold on. All right. Shall we move to the east, or is it to the west? For those who are interested, and going to what it is that we do in the free time, we are both, extensive gamers and stuff. So it is one of those things in which, this is one of those things, and the reason I'm on the Twitch platform is because I do game broadcasting and play-by-play, and Acorn, Mr. Tim here, plays a lot of games, and we love all of this stuff, and it is just sad to see. Sad to see that, companies bending over and just sort of just giving up and valuing their dollars more than anything else. It's like, I made the comment that at one point I believed this country would just, protest just on moral reasons, not even if the money was involved. That they would say, oh, that's wrong, and we shouldn't be doing that. And I question that nowadays. It's like, have American morals been diluted by Chinese money? And sometimes I believe that has actually happened. And it's sad to me. It's like...
Well, but I mean, for all the people that are getting upset about this, they're not upset about what's happening in America, in our own government. Like, that's not... It's like, this is an easy target for them. It's easy for them to be... to point at China and be like, oh, scary, authoritarian, different. But... Authoritarian, yeah. But then you turn on the news and you see the kind of crap that's being pulled right in front of our eyes in our own country, and they're not out there stirring up and ready to fight the power on that one.
Oh no, you're absolutely right. It's one of those things. It's it's so much easier to blame others for their shortcomings, but to look upon yourself and see, what can you do to improve yourself. The self-critique is sometimes not necessarily the easiest thing to do. So, and I think America has always had that issue, where they have had a tough time looking at their own faults and saying, okay, maybe we were wrong here, because it seems to me like the admission that they are wrong, or as Americans, that we were wrong to do something, is very, very hard to do for some people. So, and it's just easier to say, oh, it's China's fault, or it's this particular fault. Yeah, so it is. So yeah, I mean, it is very, very difficult to take upon yourself and say, hey, look, government right now in America is not helping regular people. So what are we doing if we can't even criticize them? So.
I'm vocally critical within my circles, but I'm not out there on the street either, so I can't be I can't point my fingers too.
The thing about it is I'm not politically active either. I vote the way I vote, and it's one of those things in which it's like I believe what I believe, but I also am guilty of not actually, marching out on the streets and participating in protests and stuff like that. I just don't. I'm just not that big into that stuff. So it is, as you said, everybody is to each their own when it comes to their beliefs with regards to it. So, but it is hard to talk about it and then turn around and realize that, hey, I don't necessarily participate in a lot of this stuff. So is my complaining and the things that are going on something that I should be whining about or complaining about because I am not part of outdoor protests or marches or whatever? Is that activism? Is there lack of activism yet belief in what it is? Is it hypocritical? I don't know.
No, I don't know either.
Yeah.
I can't tell anyone what to do with themselves, but I do feel that people need to stand up, and if that means at some point I'll be out there, then so be it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I completely understand that. So it's like, you could, the thing about it is you only could push somebody too far, right? It's like it's only so far that you can push a lot of people before they're like, okay, no more. So, interesting. Let's talk about another fun topic, though. Let's get off of the political stuff. It could be very depressing. We've done 2 Thursdays in a row where we've talked about a lot of political stuff. Let's talk about some fun stuff. You're going to be in your house alone for a while, and
that's not fun. I'm sad.
But what it is do you feel like when you are not with the wife have any sort of extra freedoms you feel like that you can do, or is it just a nice vacation that you have?
Of course, man. It's I mean, everyone has, the way you spend time with your friends is different than the way you spend time by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
The way you spend time with certain groups of your friends is different than other ones. So the way you spend time with a girlfriend or your wife or anything else is gonna be different. And I'm not, you can be very much in love with a person, but still appreciate your own time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, it's very valuable. Like I need to have quiet, alone time, and so this time while she's away, I will have that in abundance.
So will you fall back into habits that you were that you do when you're alone? R.A. Salvatore, maybe. Reading more? Read more.
Maybe. I mean, I can read when she's here, so like that's not different either.
Yeah, that's true.
If it's going to be something different, it'll probably be that I'm going to eat more food that she doesn't eat.
Mm-hmm.
So like we don't go eat Indian food because she doesn't eat that. We don't eat a lot of Mexican food because she doesn't eat that. So if she's away, I will probably do more of the stuff that we don't enjoy doing together.
Mm. The Indian food thing is my mother hates Indian food too. It's funny because I'm Southeast Asian, and you would think that that Indian food and the spices, which are very common in both Indonesian and Indian food, would be very, similar. But my entire family, except for me, hates the smell of Indian food. I find that very odd. So I'm not exactly sure why, but I've always found it very weird. So I'm not exactly sure.
Most of my time, I think, over the next week is going to be spent just doing stuff with family. My brother's place. I've been working on that. I painted over there today and just been trying to help out with that. So I'll get more family time in. I'm gonna go cook some food for my mom and uh, you know just
how is the painting going? Because the adventures in home redecoration with your brother are something that I thought was really really cool. So
That's
did you
good,
guys
man.
get all the painting done?
No, of course
No.
not.
Oh.
There's gonna be more, and then there's gonna be more on top of that.
Oh
We
really?
have. I mean, it's not a huge place, but at the same time, we have we had to do a lot of sanding,
Mm-hmm.
and then after the sanding, we had to do prime coat, and then test out some different colors and make sure we have the color we want. We're getting tile put in soon, so we want to have the tile down before we do a lot of like the kind of paint that can drip, and you don't want to have that coming down and cleaning it out off the tile. So it's just better to have it uh, done first. So yeah, we're just little by little. We got some new lighting in. We got a fan in. I broke up a bunch of tile.
Huh.
Renovating stuff.
Yeah, it's the joys of renovation, right? It's like, oh, okay. It's just doing all this stuff. But that's just really cool. I just thought it's like, he's going to have his own place. It's going to be sort of awesome. You have a huge hand in actually creating and deciding, like, how it's going to look and feel and stuff like that. And I think it's just sort of cool that you're doing that for your brother. So
Yeah. And I like a project. I get to learn a few things too.
mm-hmm.
Stuff I haven't really done. My dad's always interested in teaching me.
Yeah, has he always been like super handy? Because ever since I've known your dad, I've always thought that he's like the guy that can really fix anything.
Yep, he is. His fun as a child was taking things apart and putting them back together. And if he doesn't know how to do something, that's a challenge, and he wants to learn it. So he will always be exploring that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, I'm not the fix it guy, the handyman that my dad is, but I do appreciate understanding some of it, and I like the physicality of it. I like getting down there and doing the job and then
And
seeing it done.
like working with your hands and feeling accomplished when you do fix
Right.
it. Yeah, that's a great feeling. And
Jobstone.
Jobstone, doo. But it was one of those things in which it's like I also have never been handy in a way. I've always been the person that it's like, all right, just call the plumber or call the electrician, call the thing. I never will attempt to fix things myself, just because it's like, one, I don't want to mess it up. Two, I really don't know what I'm doing. And my dad gave off the impression that he knew what he was doing, but a lot of the times was also feeling it out too. So my mother would yell at him if he would try to fix things, and it did not go well. It's like, just call a professional, for God's sake.
Yeah, I mean, some things are better left to people that can do it really well. One of the things that was really annoying for us this last week was we were replacing a gasket on the washing machine,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just a real bitch to do, man. It's not as simple as pulling it off, put it back on. You have to take apart the whole thing, and the guys that do it as their job can do it real quick, get it out, done, and it's not that much of a chore for them. They have the right tools to pull that off and to put it back on. If you don't have those things, it just sucks.
Oh yeah, it's like, well, now with the way that technology is for appliances and cars, you need specialty equipment to fix anything. Like, the days are gone of people like tinkering with their cars and trying to see if I can tune a little thing here or do anything there. Do you know that like BMW and Mercedes requires specialty tools and machines to just fix normal things in your car? It is horrible. It's like you have to end up spending, thousands of dollars just to get a little tiny thing fixed in your car, and it's sucks. And it is the cost of buying like an expensive car like a Mercedes or a BMW, because they literally lock you out of your own car. The argument is that everything is so complicated that we don't want you understanding. We don't want you messing around with it because you might mess it up even more. Which is a sentiment that I understand. But if it's something that you own and really do want to take care of, or even understand how to take care of it, but are gated from using it, that sucks. And one of the things that an American company has done is the company John Deere. The guys that make tractors. Like farmers who buy the tractors are not allowed to work on the own tractor that they've paid like, $150,000 for, because all the software and internals are copyrighted, and therefore require a John Deere technician to come to your farm and fix everything. And to get the technician just to come out costs $500 just to come out before fixing anything.
So simple and stupid.
Yeah,
and they actually have. They're actually people that I think I saw the same thing you saw about this. That they buy cracks and somewhere from guys in Eastern Europe will crack it for them.
Yeah.
So they can work on it themselves.
Yeah. So they buy hacks and cracks and then basically people are given, like, on the internet there are lots of places where you can build your own diagnostic machines that will then work with software that these people design to bypass a lot of the stuff that John Deere implements as DRM. So it's like, holy crap, there's like a whole cottage industry for it. And the thing about it is when you buy something that expensive, I would think that you have the right to do what you want with it, but it's not the case. And in technology, that's especially not the case, because what people say is that what you're doing is actually buying the right to just use the technology. You don't actually have the right to actually in any way modify it or change it or other than use trash. It is garbage. It's like, how is that possible? What kind of rights is that? That's sucks. So
yeah, no thanks.
What do you do? It's like, this is the world we live in now, and it's like, they found that services like that with regards to services like that is what keeps people in the money, especially for a long time. They become dedicated to that ecosystem, and then they can't get out of it. It's like how Apple traps people using their technology and basically not able to let go, because they've been Apple people all their lives. They feel like they can trust Apple, but at the same time, those people are trapped in a system that doesn't allow them to get out of it. And they feel like, this is such a great company, they make everything so easy, but then other people realize it's like, they make other people realize it's like, you paid $3,500 for this computer, but you understand that you could have probably bought a PC for half the price. And you just basically end up spending $1,500 extra on unnecessary garbage. Yet there are people who will defend them to the hilt. So it's crazy.
I just like the whole idea that, like, you've paid this money for something and it's still not yours. Like just today, and I know a lot of people did this a long time ago, but just today, I'm getting my car
Mm-hmm.
and I have automatically, by plugging in my phone, I have a YouTube album that I never wanted ever and would never have bought that was given to me for free when I got my iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff starts playing. And I'm not trying to hear that. And for a long time, you couldn't delete it. You just had to have it on your phone. Since then, they've made it so you can delete it. But it was it's just very annoying. So my wife deleted it off. And then I just don't like this sort of like embedded advertising and embedded, what comes with it. Like if you agree to use this app, we have access to all of your photos and history and everything else.
Yeah.
If you agree to have your DNA tested so that you can get it, find out what your family history is or whatever, we also own your DNA then, or some bullshit like that.
Yeah, I heard about that. It's like that should be
crap.
that should be illegal. You cannot own anybody's DNA sequencing. That is garbage. So it's like, that is crazy. But like, a lot of the DNA companies, like, they make bank off of that stuff, which is nuts.
Yeah, because what they'll do is they'll take your DNA data
Mm-hmm.
and sell it to pharmaceutical companies and or health insurance companies,
Mm-hmm.
who will then use it against you to raise your rates and pump particular product towards you. So I am disappointed. Anyways, we're getting back into the ugly. Let's get
Yeah, we need to talk more about fun stuff. Virginia Tech football is fun stuff. For those who don't know, both Acorn and I are big fans of the Hokies, who had a very should have been easy win the way that the game played out, but ended up being a jittery ending there, but get one over Miami and now have to play Rhode Island on Saturday. But it is, and then this is going to make me angry again, is the fact that you have to get a specialized network to even watch the team, because it's on ACC network, which isn't offered through our cable channels.
Right, and Comcast, who has not made a deal with them to get it, is still charging me a whole bunch of money for, the sports channel. So I'm still paying them, and I don't have other option to choose from because my city is Comcast's bitch.
Correct.
And we drove Verizon away. So monopoly, welcome to America. Now I'm getting shitty again. Like literally anything you talk about, I'm going to target it into something anti-government,
Yeah. Angry casters, ladies and gentlemen, angry casters.
Yeah.
So it's just,
24/7.
I know, it's just so sad. It's like everything that we do is like, oh no.
So let's see. Is there anything fun that we can do this weekend?
Well, there's a lot of things. Whoa, my mic fell off there.
Don't do that.
I'm sorry about that. There's a lot of things. I would go with regards to the appreciation of food, as I now have rejected my diet, at least going forward here, because this fish and salad and chicken thing sucks, and I've had enough of it, and I would like to expand my horizons a little bit in something delicious. That would be something I would be very much looking forward to this weekend. It is a long weekend because it is also Columbus Day on Monday, which I didn't know because I don't think I get Monday off. I get unlimited vacation and sick days, but I don't think we get Columbus Day off, which I can understand because Columbus was an asshole. So
don't take me down that road, man.
But It's just one of those things. For those who don't know about Christopher Columbus, go watch the John Oliver little mini cartoon about it, because it is absolutely hilarious. But it goes into the history of Christopher Columbus and how that man literally it's like not the nicest person in the world, I guess would be the words to say.
I would say child rapist and
genocider. yeah, that's right. That's about right. Ooh, is there another quest that just opened up? But yeah, there is a lot of stuff here that I don't know. This weekend is going to be interesting. I haven't had processed ground beef in God knows how long, and
you trying to get a hamburger?
I think so. I think I might, and for those who don't know what this is, I might have to go to Roy Rogers. And man, I'm going to savor that like nobody's business if I do go there. But Roy Rogers, for those who don't know and don't live on the East Coast, besides being a cowboy, and an actor, Roy Rogers owned a fast food joint. And for those who don't know, I'm going to bring it up here on the screen. Roy Rogers is my favorite fast food joint when it comes to things. It is just pure deliciousness, but I think it plays more to nostalgia because it's not probably the greatest burger joint in the world, and like people don't go lauding it like In-N-Out or Five Guys, Whataburger or whatever. It is just my hometown thing that Roy Rogers was available up and down the East Coast for a long, long time, but they have a combination of items because they are a burger joint that serves fried chicken and roast beef. So their menu is relatively extensive. As I am scrolling down, and you get to see the different burgers that you see here. Double cheeseburger, the double R burger is a hamburger with cheese, and they have ham placed in the burger. It's delicious. They have roast beef, which a lot of the older clientele just love getting. So Roy Rogers plays up to a clientele that is drastically older than I am. They offer senior specials and all sorts of other things. So if you were to go to a Roy Rogers at around anywhere between 6 a.m. and 5 p.m., it will always be full with senior citizens drinking coffee. Most of them have giant televisions where they hang out. It's a lot of them are built next to rest homes. and they just go out there and be social. So you see like the offerings of chicken, the chicken sandwiches. They have something, Tim, called the Texas Pete Spicy Chicken Sandwich. That sounds like right up your alley. And then they have salads, but why? But I am also 8 points away from earning a free 8-piece meal with 3 large sides and a dessert. So, which requires 200 points using the Roy Rogers app, which all you do is you pay for your food and scan your phone, and for how many dollars you spend is the amount of points you get. So, for example, if you spend $12, you get 12 points. And I am almost up to 200 points. And that goes to show how much money I spend there by myself.
Hey, man. I'm a super red member of Chick-fil-A. And we were in line last week, and I was ordering something. I wanted to get something free with my points. And the kid that was taking our order looked at my number of points. He's like, holy crap, you have so many points.
Well, and then we were thinking of ways to figure out That was that we were thinking of ways of how we could get more points. It happened to be my friend Andrea's birthday, and usually for birthday parties, I usually have the tendency to bring a tray full of hate nuggets. And we call them hate nuggets because the fact that Chick-fil-A, is very anti-gay, and that LBGT lifestyle, Chick-fil-A is not about that, and they donate actively to charities that are very anti them. So we call them hate nuggets. And it's one of one of those things in which they are very delicious, but they're also somewhat expensive. Because a tray of 200 nuggets can run you anywhere close to depending on where you are and what it is. I think it's like close to $65 to $70. $70 at Chick-fil-A is a lot, and it would have been a lot of points for your boy over there, which would have gotten him a free what was it? We calculated it was like we would have gotten like a free 8-pack or a free 12-pack of nuggets or something like that on top of the free 8-pack of nuggets to go along with it. Let's just try gaming the system. And then we found out, and this is a little sneaky, that you can actually troll receipts and add them to your points if, let's say, somebody just bought it straight up without using the app or something like that, and you can add them to your sale because nobody really checks that stuff. And there's an automated system at Chick-fil-A that can add points to your account based on receipts that theoretically were thrown away from a guy who didn't use the app. So what happened is we found out that that could happen, and it's like, oh my God, this could be exploited. How do you know if somebody actually spent money using, or they were just just getting somebody else's receipt?
That's true. So there you go, kids. Make your millions that way.
Yeah, so, you can get unlimited Chick-fil-A if you want to troll some receipts and stuff out of Chick-fil-A. For just keep an eye out on people who don't use the app with regards to it, and you might get some free points. So that is your what is it? There's a subreddit that's what is it? The unethical tip of the day.
Okay, so I am going to step away from the computer for just a couple of minutes here, and I am sorry to do so, but must be done.
Okay, well then I will take the reins here in a little bit, and I'm just going to update everybody. I think I'm just going to update a little bit of everything that you could see here on the channel. So just to give you a heads up, today is Thursday, so we just talk about anything. We had that long discussion at the beginning discussing Blizzard and China and the ramifications of ethics in the world with regards to where you live and how you either can affect and interact with that stuff and not. But, we try to stay on topic with regards to relationships and love and advice. We try to give more full-hearted answers with regards to questions that we incur and stuff like that. So this whole channel is basically here to help people get through a lot of the things that people don't understand about relationships and love, and to give a voice to people who maybe not be getting the right answers or maybe looking at it at the wrong positive way. So that's stuff that you'll see on this channel. As for personally, you'll get to see myself as my second thing. I'm not necessarily just a vlogger caster here with my friend Tim. I also do games, and I am the casting director for Owlet, which is a sub 3500 Overwatch league, where I try to teach up and coming esports casters technique, what they should be doing, how they should prepare and set up, and let them out and cast games. And then I'm also part of the casting team over at Elo Hell, which is an organization also that's dedicated to Overwatch, but they do a lot more content. They do contenders, they do all sorts of other professional productions related to Overwatch, and they run tier 3 tournaments, all sorts of things. They even run something called Get Good, which is used to tournaments associated with lower level Overwatch. So it's very, very interesting, and it's fun, and it is my hobby. So, getting into the hobby of game casting was actually an accident. There's an article, if you go to theowlettournament.com and you check out the Outlet Tournament, you'll get to see an article that I wrote regarding my, quote, casting journey, where I detail how I became a game caster and how I decided that I didn't want to become a professional game caster because I'm a little old. It's definitely something that requires a lot of time, investment, dedication to the craft, always trying to get better with regards to what they do and cast, and then having that variety of games that you can cast for. So I can do Overwatch, I can do Fortnite, I can do Apex. Those are games that Fortnite and Apex are just two games that are not necessarily the easiest to cast to, and they do not have observer modes at the moment, I think. So what you have to do is you do it like third party, and you do have to do clean screen casting, which is a little different. But the more games that you know how to call, the more flexible you are as a caster, and the more gigs that you open up to you. Currently, the big gigs and the big professional jobs are in Overwatch through Blizzard, but also League of Legends and Riot have a huge following for casters. But that if you talk to Monte Cristo, who is the professional caster who now does the Overwatch League, he can tell you stories about working for Riot, which might not necessarily be the best. And then you can work for you can also cast for Dota, which is the other big esport, and that is run by Valve, and it has the biggest prize money involved with regards to their esports program. So it's very different. The exposure is different, and then there are all sorts of other things going on when it comes to game casting. All sorts of things like Clash of Clans is having their championship, and the new games that come up that have that esports component. If you get in on the bottom floor, a lot of the times with those games, and they do become successful, you have the opportunity to become the voice of that game. It might not get too big, but you're the one who knows all the little intricacies and knows what to do with regards to the game. And then all of a sudden you do enough games, you are the one that people are used to listening to. Your calls are associated with that game. In Overwatch, for example, there's a contenders caster by the name of ZP, who, as he got started in casting, would do these little mini tournaments, these little monthly melees is what they were called. And for a long time, there wasn't like a professional esports scene within Overwatch. There wasn't a professional scene with regards to Overwatch, and that was your main viewing. Like, if you wanted to see competitive games, you watched the monthly melees, and he became sort of like the voice of Overwatch for early Overwatch and stuff like that. In the end, I think he got sort of screwed. For what reason, I'm not sure, but he probably deserves to be on the main roster of casters in the Overwatch League, but either they did not like him or politics played, but other people ended up going and taking his place, which sort of sucked. And a lot of people were like, this guy's paid his dues, and he probably should be in the big time, but he was relegated to contenders, which is the minors, which I think he still has the following. He still has the people who know who he is, but it sucks that he wasn't given the opportunity. And now with year 3 coming in, hopefully, as they travel around the world and casters have to be in Korea and Houston at the same time, based on the way that the games are handled, he'll definitely get a shot going forward. So hopefully that is the case. And good luck to ZP with regards to all of that. Not used to blogging by myself, so it was very interesting.
I'm back.
Oh, and as I say that, you're back.
I've been back. I've been waiting for you to finish your.
Oh, so I've been monologuing. What are you gonna do?
It was the best of times.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. But yeah, I'm not used to just talking by myself. I usually, even when I'm casting Overwatch, I'll have a partner. And in my particular case, my partner is Pulse61. If you want to know who he is my color commentator in Overwatch, and we've done lots of games. We actually got paid to do an online tournament, so it was our entrance into professional casting. So it's that was pretty cool. But yeah. So I was that's pretty neat. But yeah, I don't know. So, have we run out of things to talk about? Do you have any more topics with regards to what we can discuss?
Let me see. No, I'm not thinking of anything right now. Yeah. I don't know how long we've been going.
Oh yeah, we've been on for a good hour and 20 according to this. About the first 5 minutes was just us adjusting audio and checking what your sound was like, because we were fiddling with the audio because Tim there thought he sounded a little hollow in yesterday's cast. So we're still playing with the audio processing settings and trying to see, because your equipment is brand new to you. So there's some tweaking that maybe needed to be involved with regards to making sure that you sound the best that you can. Because the equipment that you have is actually very, very good. The mic and the amps and everything like that is just top quality.
Yeah, I don't know very much about how to optimize my equipment. Mm-hmm. And I know how you sound. You sound really good to me, but I don't know how to adjust settings to make me sound as good as I would like to sound. So it's going to be a bit of a process, I believe.
I think it is, but I hate the way I sound. I think it's just a lot of it is just the fact that I'm very biased about how I sound on the internet. I think I do not sound good. Though a lot of people have commented about oh, you sound great. And it's and you sound like how I think you sound. And it's am I just prejudiced against my own voice?
Everyone is. It's actually a very common thing. I think there's actually even a one-word term for it. That because when we're speaking, we are hearing our voice from the inside of our own head. And it sounds very different than, after you... If you're listening, when you play back your voice and listen to it, mm-hmm. I don't like my voice at all. But I got to assume that everyone in my life who's listened to my voice has not been unhappy about it. So I can't really say that it's a...
I think your voice is fine.
Bad thing.
So it's I listen to myself, and I feel like I sound horrific. It's how do you call games and stuff? It's this is terrible. And everybody else says is oh, you sound fine. I don't know what you're talking about. It's it is that internal bias, I think. Yeah. But, even now, I was talking about, experimenting possibly with getting a very, very expensive mic, with regards to maybe changing up my voice a little bit. But I've come to find, doing a little bit of research, that just a little bit of audio processing can do a lot for the way that your voice sounds. And there are software that you can install on a computer to allow you to process audio better, so that you can tweak it so you can sound the way you think you should sound. but I am not good at finding the settings yet.
Teach me, senpai.
No, well, teach myself. I'm not exactly sure if I'm using it correctly.
Teach yourself, senpai.
So there's that. So you might be hearing our voices get tweaked here a little bit. And, it's funny. I listened to the Don and Mike show for a long, long time here, based in the DC area. And those guys have heavy audio processing when it comes to their voice, because if you don't hear them on the mic through the radio studio, or even Mike O'Meara through his podcast now, he sounds completely different. And it's crazy, but through the way that they do their recordings and on the air and stuff like that, they sound completely different. And it's like, I want to learn those ways. I want to sound richer. I want to sound deeper and more professionally tuned and stuff. But I don't know how.
We'll get there.
Yeah. So, in the meantime,
well, if we want to wrap it up here, we can do that, and we can continue on another evening.
All right. So I guess that is going to be it for us tonight. Just wanted to thank everybody here for joining us today. It has been a Freeform Thursday, which means that, not necessarily relationships were on the topic, or were on the table today, what we were talking, but it gives us a little bit of an insight as to, our minds, and it also gives us practice, as I have told Acorn here, that sometimes as a caster, you need to be able to be quick on your feet and to be able to talk on the mic very naturally and be able to be very quick with regards to being able to react to things on the mic. So these Freeform Thursdays are not just for us regarding just us goofing around and playing games and talking or something like that. It's also a way to help us hopefully become better casters. So hopefully you enjoy them, and maybe you find them hilarious. Not this particular episode, because we've been very angry casters, and hopefully we'll find better, funnier topics. Hopefully in our lives that are not as I guess what's the word would be divisive. I guess would be the word.
Maybe,
possibly.
but it's the world, man. I'm not gonna apologize, and I'm not gonna say it's not gonna happen again in the future. If you don't want to deal with sad things, I guess you can close your eyes and cover your ears. It's out there.
It is.
But I mean, yes, we should be positive and happy, because there's good stuff too. So we'll just keep it balanced. And if anyone's feeling like we're going a little too far one way, just wave your hand and we'll bring it back.
Yeah, absolutely. We value your opinion and your concerns with regards to it. So, but on that note, thank you very much for joining us today here on Thursday on Twitchline. As always, our email address is twitchlinelove@gmail.com. You can contact us via that if you have any articles, notes, questions, things you want us to answer, anything like that would be very, very cool to see. Also, you can also tweet us if you don't feel like email is the way to go. You can just drop us 140 characters there on Twitter at Twitchline. Drop us whatever you think. You can even link us articles that way. It's all good. You can also visit us on YouTube. Just search Twitchline Relationship Help and Advice. You'll find our channel there and our archive of old shows. And on SoundCloud, if you want to take us on the go, you can go to SoundCloud search Twitchline, and you can find our channel there. But for Tim, I'm Z. Thanks so much for joining us here on Thursday. Hopefully we'll be back here on Sunday with a Sunday Focus segment to enthrall you with. Check out last week's Sunday Focus segment here on Twitch or on YouTube. But for him, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Good night.